That's not ready.
It looks like it is. It's a bulb.
Yeah, but it's red, right?
No, it's white.
That's definitely not ready. I can feel it's not ready.
Okay, guys, we're recording.
There's no pressure.
You want to start?
You go that way.
Okay, here we go.
Ooh. Alrighty. The Amazing Musical Mezling. That's what we're called.
We are the Amazing Musical Mezling, and we got our name when this guy over here, Bruce, misheard the name of
The chorus of Life on Mars by David Bowie. What's the part of? Oh, yeah. It's a Mezling show. Is a life on Mars. So, that's
Wait,
the
sorry,
track.
this came off.
You dumbass.
I don't know what. You. Or you, yeah, you use you to push it.
Hey, that's
Okay,
the
we're
way to
rolling.
treat each other.
What, Brenda?
We're rolling. Oh, no. Woo! Ah! We are the Amazing Musical Mezling. That's the name of our band.
And we got our name when this guy over here misheard the lyric on one of the choruses of David Bowie's song, Life on Mars.
It's a Mezling show. It's a life on Mars. And then the amazing musical part. That's just, you know, it
we're
makes
into grand, big titles.
it.
It sounds like it could be anything. It sounds like it could be a children's show. It sounds like it could be
A circus.
a movie, a circus, a play.
And there's something kind of funny about, you know, like a band having musical in their title, because I just feel like it's kind of assumed.
Yeah, we like that.
And it's just kind of like the Amazing Musical Mezling. It's like, I don't know.
We're just sort of like
No, we're kooky. We're hip.
we're congratulating ourselves, or we're exalting ourselves in our title, and we're also creating a character. You know. So what is a Mezling? It's a character that was created from a David Bowie
Guys,
song.
I'm sorry for this. We're gonna have to pause. Are your chairs on your markers?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
I think they might have moved the rug accidentally.
Okay, that would
Shit.
explain it because because Judson is in all of Bruce's shots now.
Over here.
Yeah.
I felt it when it happened.
So you guys might want to like just switch over a little bit.
Can we save what we just did though?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
We're still recording.
That good enough?
Let's see.
Ah, Rachel.
Oh my gosh.
Hot.
And we're rolling.
This verse. Hold on.
Are we talking about backstories?
We're rolling. We can
Yeah.
go ahead and start with the spinning.
Oh, we're doing that
Oh, we have
again?
to redo it.
We're gonna go ahead and do that. Yep.
Okay.
So we're doing the beginning?
Yes.
It just feels contrived now when I do it.
Okay, ready?
Don't push off me, that's what moved it.
Oh, okay.
Ready, set, go.
I can't get fast enough though.
Hello, we are the Amazing Musical Mezling. That's our band name.
And we got our name when this guy over here misheard a lyric of a David Bowie song, Life on Mars. It's a Mezling show.
show is the life on Mars. Yes, that's where Mezling is from.
So we sort of created a character out of that
Because, you know, it's like, what's a Mezling show? It's like, that's what we're going to do. That's what Davey's singing about.
So Bruce freaked out over that. And then the other part, the Amazing Musical, is just part of it. We like big grand titles. that just are just like huge, and they sound like they could be anything. It sounds like it could be
It's like this grandiose circus.
circus. It sounds like it could be a children's show. It
You
sounds
could
like
kind of
it
hear
could be-
Elmo saying it.
You can hear Elmo saying it. It sounds like a play. It sounds like a movie. It sounds like
The
anything.
amazing musical Mezling.
Could be on a lot of different things. So we like that. We also like putting the word musical in a band name because it's
It's
kind
kind
of
of
like
funny, yeah.
it's kind of like an old-fashioned.
Because you'd think it'd be assumed, yeah.
Like there'd be like the
Like I don't know, the athletic
Yeah.
trapeze guy.
Yeah,
it's like
it's just
obviously
like-
he's athletic. He's on a trapeze.
and like you sort of know we're a band, but it's musical, So we enjoyed that. We giggled.
It's incredibly meta.
Okay. Do you want to go ahead and talk about your musical influences?
Yes. So
Biggest musical influence. Gotta put it out there. Probably the Beatles. Because this is like what we grew up on. Beatles and Beach Boys. Especially that post-Pet Sounds. Beach Boys. And
jabbing
Pet
on
Sounds.
the post pet sounds.
Yeah, oh man. Yeah, that's kind of what we grew up on. And that's, obviously we like tons of different music now. It kind of ranges. Like, I mean, we like Shostakovich and we like Michael Jackson, so.
Yeah, we're into a lot of different forms of music, but as lately, or with this most recent album that we're doing, it's called Operation Groove Station, and as you might be able to guess, it is a funk disco record, and basically the idea is to just like be as much like Earth, Wind, and Fire as possible, like become a big giant disco band because we're.
And musically too, it's kind of like giving up a lot of the trap of obsessive originality and more
Right.
just kind of being free and things can be
Yeah, it's
melodically
just about
similar.
having
Yeah,
a ton of fun and really celebrating. It's very celebratory.
it's a lot of fun.
But that's one of our focuses recently, just kind of like going up and having like this big ecstatic, cacophonous.
And I guess a lot of
Okay.
our like musical sensibilities we could thank our parents for, and just kind of like enabling us to.
Yeah,
Do the music
exposing all
stuff,
that to us. Totally.
I mean, we were kind of like, we called ourselves a band since we were little kids, but we
Yeah.
we weren't interested in playing instruments at all. We just kind of like sang and like beatbox and stuff. It was really bad, but we were very little. And then my parents, someone gave them a guitar and they just gave it to me, and I was interested in percussion more than guitar. But and so I was like, okay, I guess I'll play guitar. So that's kind of how I started playing music, just because they gave one to me.
Yeah.
And
And Bruce has always been interested in like starting a band. He's like,
Yeah.
hey guys, you call people up.
yeah, yeah.
It was just
like,
all our friends as a
It
kid.
was like tons of friends, but I'd call them up before every whatever designated day we have, and the day before I'd be like, hey, you guys coming to band practice? And the day of I'd be like, hey, you guys got to ride to band practice? And I'd be like organizing rides and.
And nothing has changed. It's still the same. But Bruce like kind of like started the band pretty much, and then like invited everyone to come do it, and we're just the
but
only
we
ones
still-
left.
And then Judd's parents are both musicians.
Yeah, my parents are very musical. My dad is a jazz drummer, and they've always really encouraged me to get into music even before I was like into it. I was like avidly against it. I was like, they would be like, Judd, what instrument are you gonna play? And I'd be like, no, I don't want to play an instrument. I'm not playing instruments. I wanted to like draw more or something in the early days.
Make comics. We did a lot of that.
Yeah, Bruce and I would draw together.
Read comics and stuff.
We've been collaborating on art and music stuff since we were
Fetuses.
wee lads, young fetuses.
We were actually both. We lived together for a while in the same womb together of Mommy Mezling.
Weird.
Okay, pause.
Big Bird.
That was good.
Big Bird.
Do you want to talk about kind of the progression of your band, how you started and what, you kind of started here about the progression of your band, but,
Sure.
but how did it go? Okay.
We started. We've just always been trying to
Yeah,
make
we've
music.
always been like, yeah, we're a band since we're babies.
You know, band, and it's been this band. You know, we've it's still the same
This
group.
band.
This band. Yeah, like before we had, when we started out, we were kind of like a folk band by default because that's all we
Yeah, we
had.
just had tons of like acoustic guitars and stuff, and we
Just
just had
like,
like
yeah.
100 kids just strumming like ukuleles
Acoustic
and
instruments.
stuff.
We had like a horn section, you know, like our friends like played saxophone or something. I played flute in the early days because I learned flute or something, but I didn't even really play. And then we got like one amp that my dad let us use. It was just this big PV keyboard amp,
yeah.
and it has like 4 inputs. And I was like, guys, we can all go we can all go into this. You know, like this is an amplifier. And we were like, whoa. And then and so my dad would put it in the car and drive me over to his house where we had practice. And then I couldn't lift it at all because it was like bigger than me. And I physically could not lift it. So he would get it out of the car, and then he would walk it up to the front porch, and then Bruce's dad would open the door and pick it up and bring it upstairs to where we had practice in his room. And I was like, thanks guys. You know? Couldn't lift it. So that just goes to show.
He's just really weak.
I still can't lift it. But yeah, we've sort of learned how to like do music
together. Yeah,
Together.
just by doing it together. And then yeah, from there we kind of got like electric guitars, and we got distortion pedals. We became like kind of like
a
garage rock, and then we got like really into that. We became just like kind of making noise and kind of experimental. Then we got synthesizers, and you know, then we started making like dreamy pop stuff, and now we're making like disco.
Yeah.
And it's just we're very kind of phasey by project. And we kind of recognize that, like, this is like, okay, this recording project, and like we play these live songs, these disco songs now. That's what we're recording.
We're like a disco band now.
And then after that, we have like more almost like a 60s pop jazz thing, I guess. And
it's like cacophonous folk rock.
yeah, and then that's gonna be our next phase thing. You know what I mean? It's just kind of like.
It's because we like a lot of different genres, so we try to like just fully embrace one, you know, and then go to the next.
Yeah, and just kind of take like the cliches of it. You know what I mean? And just kind of magnify them. Anyway.
Because we really enjoy like the cliche, like the disco cliches, you know, like
Totally.
and you play it and it's just fun. It's just like it feels really good to play, you know. So we're trying to just to have like a lot of fun with the music that we're playing.
Yeah, and just kind of like this big energetic thing that's just like it's very it's like very instantly accessible, and that in the past would have been like, no, it needs to be complex and like nothing you've ever heard before. And it's like, come on.
Yeah, we went through phases of just trying to be way too original, where we were like focusing on being original, and you can't do that as a band. I don't think. I think you gotta, you know, it sounds cliche saying it, but like you just have to play what you like. What you like doing.
What do you want to hear?
What you really want to hear. And then, because I would write something and I'd be like, no, it's got to be more complex, or it's got to be a little bit more original.
This is too familiar sounding. It's like,
right. Like familiarity is sometimes very beautiful if you do it in the right way and stuff like that.
Okay. Let's see. Who do you play to? What's your audience? Where do you play? And how can they get in touch with you?
We play, now we've been playing a lot more shows, which is fun, and we play mostly DIY venues. Are just kind of like, it's not really like a company or like an established place. It's just someone who's like, oh, I'm going to take my basement, I'm going to have shows there. So it's kind of like a lot of basement shows, house shows, and then like just kind of like little venues. We played a couple art galleries. Those are always fun.
Yeah.
That kind of fits art because we kind of like mixing the visual and the music. So those are really
They're
exciting.
prestigious. it's class. Yeah, but
Pretty highbrow.
It's highbrow, you know. Gallery. But we. Yeah, I think DIY venues and like playing in people's basements and stuff, that's where you'll get a lot more, that's where it's much more real.
And that's where we want to play to just people who are going out to hear live bands or listen to music. They're not just going out to drink or something. And that's like a lot of bar shows that kind of suck. And then our music. It's on it's on Spotify, Bandcamp, iTunes.
You
We
can
got
find
we got
us-
Instagram.
We got Instagram.
We got Facebook. The Amazing Musical Mezling. www.google.com. Then write in The Amazing Musical Mezling.
HTTP semicolon dash dash.
No Bing.
No Bing.
Okay, you talked about how long you've known each other, right?
Yep.
Do you want to talk about the CDs you recorded and kind of the progression of that?
Oh, cool, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, well, recording is one of our favorite things because, I mean, in music, that's one of, first things I listen for is, production, just, such a big part of music. But, we had failed.
We've been trying to record for since we were kids.
Yeah,
right?
and we would just do it ourselves. We didn't really do much ourselves, but we did it. We did one thing at William Patterson that failed, for a guy's project. We did that one thing at somebody's house. Many failures, but that's I feel like that's a good advice to give to new people. Just you're gonna fail a lot.
You're gonna fail.
We played shows that were complete failures that we literally couldn't even finish playing. It was just technological, and we just.
Not that we're some big success now, but yeah, it's gonna be a rocky road as a band.
Yeah, I mean we're failing right now in a lot of ways. So but what was the original thought there?
Kind of where you want to get what your CDs are now.
Oh yeah, yeah. So we had many failed recording projects, and then we did one with our bassist, our old bassist, his cousin, who's
Jamie
in Cook
Conti.
Thugless. Look them up.
Shout
They're
out.
cool. The Cook Thug, and we just recorded our first EP, which is 5. Well, it's 4 songs and one kind of noise thing that we recorded ourselves, but we recorded all the songs with him there in one weekend, and we slept. He kind of turned his room into a studio, and we just slept on the floor. It was such a fun weekend.
It was a great learning process.
And that's what actually we're doing that this Friday. We're sleeping over at a studio, and we're just recording all night and all day Saturday. Can't wait. And that's our first EP, which is called Leno and the Stars. And it's kind of, it's like rock, pop, kind of
yeah, it's
dreamy, fun
we
synth.
were sort of into more 2000 stuff, OK Go to at that point,
Yeah.
indie. It's like indie rock.
Yeah, it's
stuff.
like indie rock.
But it's we like it.
It's good. It's the
good.
first release, and the production's pretty.
It's a good record.
I'm surprised how good a production is whenever I hear it normally, because I think of it in kind of a negative light. But I think it's kind of as you move on, you see your past stuff as okay, that was then. And then we recorded one in my basement and at our houses.
And that's when we learned how to record.
Yeah, we learned how to record ourselves, and that was a
got, an
massive
audio
process. We
interface.
started it in Audacity, and then eventually recorded it in Logic. But those are recording programs. But it was a massive learning process. But it kind of gave us the confidence that we can just kind of do something in the wrong way or our own way, and it's kind of better. You know what I mean? And
yeah, it was really fun. It was super fun to track.
yeah, so we recorded our second EP, Narso Cleft. And that's all. It's 4 songs, and it's a wild trip. It's spooky pop. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just really experimental.
Yeah, I guess
we kind of went off.
experimental pop. I guess
We
you'd say.
indulged way.
And it's
into
but it's
the
not, I mean it's not it's still poppy though, and it's
Yeah.
it's accessible. And then we recorded ourselves a Halloween track.
Yeah, we just put out a Halloween track. It's called Graveyard Guitar.
Yeah, and so
We're
that
into doing seasonal songs. We're gonna do some Christmas ones.
we feel like that kind of it kind of fits our our cheesy aesthetic or something, where you kind of it's just it's the holiday season. I wonder what Mezling is gonna come out with. The Amazing Musical Mezling.
Yeah, we just want to be really upfront with stuff,
Yeah.
Like when we're doing disco, we're doing disco.
Yeah,
or
just kind
something,
of taking everything and just kind of doing a very saturated version of it.
Yeah. And we got some other records that we're working on, but those will be out when they're out, and you'll see them then.
A lot of big projects, a lot of good things, a lot of fun stuff. Yeah, actually, the one we're recording on Friday, we're gonna release it in kind of an experimental way where, it's not gonna be traditionally it's not gonna just be on Spotify and stuff. It's gonna be a little more of a, It's top secret stuff.
Keep your eyes out. The amazing musical Mezling.
Keep your ears and eyes glued to the screens.
Keep your ears, your eyes, and all the looking fuzz.
Okay, let's see. So we did the band name, where it comes from, where the music comes from, where you hope to go with it. Your musical influences. Did we hit all those? Right. Kind
Beach
of
Boys
your
and Beatles.
outside life, what you do.
We didn't do that, but
If you want to do that.
there's that. Is there anything else? Because that's a quick one.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, Funky Sugar.
Yeah, we'll probably. I guess so. What are your rehearsals are like? You already know. You want to talk a little bit more about your guest artists? I mean, did you talked about that? I guess did you talk about that in this interview as much as?
Oh yeah, kind of like how we have the rotating thing.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, let's do that.
And I'll shout them out too.
And don't forget Jamie, please.
Yeah, so this band, like we've said that we've been trying to play music since we were little kids, and
And there's always been different friends revolving in that.
incantations, yeah. And Bruce and I don't think we really like realized that we were like kind of like sort of like driving the whole thing until past like year and a half, 2 years, because that's when like everyone left and it was just us two, you know.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's only, the last, it was kind of like we kind of had this feeling it was like the three of us with our old bass
Yeah.
player for the longest time, and then it's kind of like, we just have like different members, and kind of the thing was we would just kind of push people too hard, where we'd have like, be like, okay, we got rehearsal this night and this night and this night, we're recording this night, we got these shows, and now
they weren't
recently
as
it's just
into
becoming
it.
more and more, where it's like, oh, we've got a show every weekend, and it's kind of like, you got to be really into it to do that, especially if it's not like your music as much, because it's kind of like, Judd writes a lot of it, or Judd writes most of it, and then we collaborate on it, but
So we have like a revolving door policy.
yeah,
And we have our friends, and they know the music, and they come in, and
we call them our pawns.
They're our pawns.
Yeah, we just have a bunch of people who know how to play the songs, and so like a lot of them can do multiple parts, and Judd
They're
sings and play
fantastic.
guitar, and then I'll just do whatever is needed. I can do the bass, keyboards, drums, whatever.
Yeah, they're really great guys. They're all our friends. Shout outs. David McFall, Zach Fontana, Zach Borzone, Veronica Lee, and Jamie Conti. They're the band. We can do it without them, you know.
Yeah,
they're
and
the
we're
best.
adding more. We just have people like, oh, can you do this show? And they learn a couple parts, and they learn a couple songs, and we're just constantly building our.
Yeah, and it's really fun
regiment.
that way because like different musicians bring different things too, you know. Like they can all they kind of add a little bit of their own flavor to the live thing and stuff. It's really fun playing with them.
I'd probably say in our last 5 to 10 shows, it probably hasn't had the same lineup of people one time. Yeah, it's always a different mix. It's great.
Yeah, it's really it makes it interesting. And sometimes we'll have to scramble because we'll be like like just recently we were like, so and so can't make it. Like, what are we gonna do?
Yeah, we
you
just had
know?
to figure out, and that's kind of like just being put in those corners. It's kind of how you end up being like, okay, so we're gonna have to do this completely different, and we'll have to and then that's pretty much how this whole project came about.
Yeah, because
was just being forced into we had this show, and we just kind of put the songs together really quick and everything. It was good. But but eventually we want to just keep on getting more and more people where we can have these massive shows where we have horns and strings and a bunch of keyboards and percussion, and then everyone will break out recorders, and we'll have a recorder choir, and then
Our dream is to have just tons of people playing.
Yeah, and it's just this big ridiculous, and it's kind of it's like that big circus kind of ridiculous jumbo performance.
We're into the grandiose, yeah.
And having
Cacophony,
people kind of I think definitely a big influence there would be the Flaming Lips, where or of Montreal, where their shows are also these massive visual, and where they have people who are just dancing and stuff. We would love to have that, and like the Flaming Lips, they have a different set for every song they play live. It's incredible.
Yeah.
Okay, nice. Let's see. about your albums you've recorded.
I
Do you
love
want to talk
flaming
about
lips.
where you kind of are planning on going with this? You know, you're talking about where you're, you know.
I don't know if that would
if
be different than other people. Just kind of.
Well, you don't have to worry about that though, being different than other people. But you might want to talk about. So right now you're doing disco. Do you have plans, kind of for another your next project or your next? Are you just kind of reveling in this right now, or do you kind of are you getting a little sick of it and then you're gonna move on? To
Sure,
something
we
else,
can
or-
say something about that.
and then I don't know if you want to talk about your move or not. Maybe you're keeping that kind of a quiet thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right, go for it.
Yeah, so we're not finished with our disco record yet.
Yeah, we're recording it right now, but we're playing it live for sets, and we'll continue playing it live
Yeah,
even
we're
after
gonna
we
try to-
release it, and then for a while after that. You know what I mean? We're gonna try to kind of make it more
Our
of a
thing.
legit thing. You know, like it's gonna be released on a label, I believe, and
Yeah, we're gonna.
so it's gonna, you know what I mean, like we're gonna really push this record and playing it live and stuff, and
And
just
because
kind
the thing is, like, we get like, I think it's playing funk music and playing disco music is like really like lends itself to like working on becoming a tighter band. You
Yeah.
know? Because it's like really you have to like be really in the pocket with what you're playing and stuff. You know, and like, and we're like very slowly becoming like tighter and tighter. You know, and we have not been a tight band in the past. You know, we've done a lot of things that are just like,
sloppy shows.
"Whoa, no, what are we doing?"
And
Like, technically and musically, it's just weird.
yeah, and then like the next project we're doing is more of like a kind of have like a late '60s pop, kind of like folk, grandiose. I don't know.
Yeah, we
Like
just
kind of a little jazzy.
we just have like yeah, like we said before, we just want to like it's just a giant. It's like a big record, you know. It's like a big statement or something, you know. We just want it to be grand and big. It's like everything about it's just trying to make like a masterwork almost, you know. Not in the sense that we want it to be like, oh, it has to be famous, you know, like people have to get it, but it's just like a big statement for us, maybe, you know, a big work of art, kind of. And then we have other plans after that.
And then should we talk about Funky Sugar?
Yeah.
Yes.
Did we get? Oh no, we didn't talk about the move.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then I mean we moved to.
Well,
Go ahead, just flow into it.
Oh. I don't know. Do we really? I don't think we need to talk about that. Philadelphia.
That's fine. You want to talk about Funky Sugar?
Yeah. So, Funky Sugar is a song off Operation Groove Station,
the disco funk
our disco record,
LP.
and it's sort of. I think it's more of like the most like straight disco song off of it. One of the more ones like that. And it's like what we were saying, where it's just kind of just being pretty raw and unbridled about your joy and expressing
Yeah.
like
It's very like,
love.
and I feel like it's indulgent that way. It's also indulgent just like melodically too, where it's
Yeah,
just like
yeah.
this like it's just like very fun song, and there's like it's not super complex or you know,
super pop. Yeah.
and it's just like it's a kind of like a powerful song live and kind of gets you jiving.
Gets you driving. And like lyrically, I used to be like very against like
It has to be there has to be like a certain amount of like vague or like cryptic.
well, yeah, I was just very
Yeah.
against writing love songs and writing like using love as any type of thing, you know. And then I kind of like then I came to understand how you know like why there are so many love songs. It's because it's like the greatest thing in the world, you know. And it's weird. It's like a bizarre giant feeling. It's huge. You know, love is just like huge and fantastic. And so like that's why so many people are just kind of like proclaiming it. And I think there is a lot that's just kind of like using it as a cliche, you know, using it because it's easy. But then there's a lot about love that's just like fantastic, and people just screaming about it, and that's kind of what we're doing in the song, I think. And it is goofy, you know, it's not it's tongue in cheek, of course, but that's part of it, you know, just having a lot of fun. So it's honest and sort of facetious. Is facetious the right word?
Facetious, huh?
You know, while we're on the subject of lyrics and things, can you talk just a little bit about where your lyrics come from in your music, like just where it comes from? Because it's very eclectic, and you know, when I think of like Program of the Fall or something like that, there's all these different tones to the same song, and the
Sure,
lyrics
yeah.
go from bright and exciting to kind of, you know, dark, and then back to bright again, and kind of where that stuff comes from.
That's like the older way of thinking.
Right, yeah.
Where yeah, it's a kind of like surrealist in a lot of ways and like abstract kind of.
Yeah. Well, and not that I like surrealism in visual art and in, songs, I guess, but I don't really think of writing lyrics as like, I don't really write poetry or like I don't think I'm that like great with writing like beautiful words, but what I do like to do is kind of like tell stories and stuff like that. You know, like I like
create an image
describing,
even, you know, right?
yeah, describing images. That's pretty, it comes from like the same place as drawing a picture, I think. You know, like you're drawing something and then I can kind of just look at it and describe it, and that's what the lyrics are, you know. It's as simple as that. Description. Lyrical narrative, I like to think of it as. I heard Paul McCartney say that once about Sgt. Pepper.
That's
So-
probably why you remembered it, because it's a good way of putting it, right?
Yeah, it's cool. It's a cool word.
Okay,
a cool
well,
phrase.
I feel like we have a lot here. If you want to throw in a last words,
Oh, we
bits
do.
of advice.
Oh, we do.
Okay, good. You might want to throw. I don't know. Did you put in the advice for the young artists? I don't know.
Yeah, I said something about
Okay, yeah, I remember. You did when you were talking about the venues and stuff, and so watch out for that.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, all right.
Those bald
So-
boys.
All right, so give me about 2 seconds when I stop talking, and then you can go into your last words.
A final message from the amazing musical Mezling. We love you. 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 We love you.
Great, thank you.
I
And action.
Greetings. We are the amazing musical Mezling. Our band originated in the year 2006. Approximately.
We've been making music together since we were little children. We never haven't been making music together. We've known each other all our lives.
We've always been trying, kids. Follow your dreams.
We like the name. It's a big, grand name.
The name sounds like it could be anything. It sounds like it could be a Broadway play. It sounds like it could be
A circus.
a circus. It sounds like it could be a movie, a children's show. And we like that you could see the name and it could be any one of these, and then you come to one of the shows and we're a rock band, or we're a musical act. So even before you're at the show, you have this premonition of, like, what is this? What is this group?
It's
What are they
something,
gonna do?
but it has a feeling of grandiose.
We like big, grandiose things. As you can see, to our lavish nest. As of late, we've been very inspired by disco culture, disco groups like Earth, Wind, and Fire,
The Bee Gees.
and Bee Gees.
Because they kind of, especially something like Earth, Wind, and Fire, they have like a big grand set, and it's like a mix of future and like Renaissance outfits, and the whole feeling of like disco and funk is it's very loving, and it's just kind of excited and you're fun, and as musicians and artists, you can kind of get really caught up in like
Concept.
in like you can really get caught up in like depth and trying to be something, but sometimes it's kind of freeing just to be like, no, this is just we love you, audience, and we love playing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, with this project, we've just really striven to make it just all about just having like a really fun experience. And I know that sounds cliche, but like it's so freeing when you're not really worried about like a point to prove or anything. You're just going out and going like, we're excited, we're dancing because there's this music, and like that's what Earth, Wind and Fire and what the Bee Gees and I know this goes off in a lot. There's a lot of scummy stuff in there too, cocaine. but as a whole, I think the message is really kind of sweet and fun. We also like a lot of sci-fi, big movies like 2001: A Space Odyssey. We're just this big like space and sci-fi is very
concepts.
Say we like candy. Here, give me a second, and
Yeah, sorry.
that's okay. Yeah.
You want to do that back and forth thing?
So can you go over a little bit of what
What
you
was
did
it?
the last time, and just backtrack just a little bit about?
Oh yeah, we lulled there for a second, right?
No, it's fine, but in the shot and everything, I'd rather have the two of you kind of like this in the shot. than
Should
I
we be
have.
looking at the camera?
Yeah, Judd is looking at the camera. You might want to look at the camera more, or look at me, or look at me.
Right.
I can't see you.
Okay, you
Okay, so or look.
Can I look at the
I
red
can
So
see
light?
look at me as well, because you're.
Well, the
I
thing
can't
of it
see
is,
you.
though,
Look at
they
the
need
mic.
to look at one play.
Can I look
One
at the
play.
red light?
Sure.
I
Look at
can
the red
read.
light. Okay.
On the red light?
Yeah. Look at the red light, and go ahead and go.
Oh wait, where are we starting?
Yeah, where are we starting?
Oh,
Sorry.
you can say we like candy, and
Okay.
then go back to.
We like candy.
Yeah, well, candy's great. You can see here. We're inspired by candy as much as we're inspired by something like
Sci-fi movies. Logan's Run. 2001: A Space Odyssey.
And I'd say we're inspired by The Who as much as we're inspired by
The Muppets.
that's good.
We're inspired by Earth, Wind and Fire as much as
Legos and so on and so forth.
So who writes the music?
Well, Judd writes the skeleton of most of the songs, and then we kind of fill them out together, and he writes most of the lyrics. I mean, it's collaborative, but he's, as far as writing goes, he's the main creative force.
You flatter me. We've always been the two where the ideas and where the songs and where the concepts are coming from, though, ever since we were kids, I think. But we've only recently, I think, realized that we do kind of have like this partnership that we've been like the way we've been constructing things, the way we've been operating as a band. It's been pretty. It's dependent pretty much on this relationship that we have, but we didn't even realize it until recently that we're kind of like musical partners.
When we were little, we tried to do we thought we were like John Lennon and Paul McCartney.
Yeah,
And we tried to like sing, to go back and
Dual
forth, singing
frontman.
lead. Yeah, or, he's a frontman now, and I'm drumming.
Okay, I'm going to ask you to say that again.
What?
When we were little, we wanted to be like John Lennon and Paul McCartney.
When we were little, we thought we had this like McCartney Lennon
Partnership.
Yeah, and it's not really like that as much because it's not like a duo frontman. He's the frontman and I'm drumming, but it's like something like in the studio. I'm kind of more of the producer and like playing keys and stuff, and then he'll be doing guitar, and then I'll do drums, and it's really just like everything. And we have a friend, Jamie, who does most of the bass parts.
He's been playing bass. We sorry.
Okay.
I had something so good.
That's okay. I'm going to just do a couple while you're thinking.
Okay.
I'm going to do a couple close-ups right here.
Just like cut in of us. That's good. To have like as we like
Our
in
mouths.
between us talking,
Like
in between us talking, just having like close ups of just eating
Yeah.
candy. You know, I think it's really good.
Where was I gonna say no? And you said Lennon McCartney, and then you said. Whatever, I can't remember. The song we're singing today is
Funky Sugar.
so the lyrics and what the song is reflecting on is very is a great example of like what we were talking about before, where the songs are just about like kind of cliche things, you know, like disco is just like there's like a lot of cliche like lovey-dovey things, and then there's just kind of things about like singing about how much you love singing music, you know. And it's so weird, like it's like breaking the fourth wall, and you're like, I love singing this song and I'm singing it right now. So it's singing, it's just singing about like the relationship I'm in, I guess, but like in a broad sense, you know, it's just like love is great. Like I used to have a huge phobia of, I was like, no love songs, you know, like that's like too cliche. But then you realize like love is so amazing, you know. Love is like incredibly beautiful. So like that's why there is so many love songs, you know. Like people are just writing about love because it's like, what is this? This is like, extravagant. This is amazing. This makes me feel so weird, you know. And it's like the most incredible feeling. So it's about it's like it's very like corny, jokey lyrics, you know. I don't think I'm being, you know, serious when I'm saying Funky Sugar's got my eye holes on hold, you know. There's nothing. There's nothing
It's a
heady
little tongue
about
in
that.
cheek, yeah.
It's tongue in cheek, but it's just proclaiming, you know, like not worrying about being corny, just proclaiming your love for someone or
Yeah,
for
that's kind of like
something
the disco thing. It's just kind of like even
Yeah.
musically, it's kind of indulgent.
so celebratory.
Yeah, it's a little indulgent, but it's just like it's just fun, and it's very like unself-aware in a way. Where you don't care how you look. You're just having a fun time.
Yeah, they're in these big extravagant costumes, as we are now, and it's just for fun. It's just we just enjoy it. You know, my dad always asks, "Why do you do like what? Why don't you take off the costumes?" Or like, why don't you just do a normal set? And we have done that. You know, like we have no. It's not. This isn't like anything we completely abide by. It's just for fun. It's just another element of the performance that we can do to enhance and to make it this big,
More
giant
grand.
experience. Grand.
100 grand bar.
Um,
But Funky Sugar itself, you want to talk a little bit about how like the capsule idea and stuff.
oh sure. Why? What about it?
Like her in capsule form and stuff, like the.
Yeah, I mean, there's some surrealist. There's a lot of like jokey surrealism in the Narso Unit lyrics. Mezling Operation Narso Unit is the album that Funky Sugar is on, the song that we'll sing for you today. And it's essentially a disco record. It's us just like we've been saying, you know, just embracing this disco mentality, this disco funk mentality.
And we're in the midst of recording it ourselves now, doing it independently,
We're recording it now.
mostly in my basement, and it's yeah, it's fun. It's a lot of experimentation recording wise, and it's our second release that we've done ourselves.
Yeah.
We recorded our second EP,
Narso Cleft.
Narso Cleft ourselves, and that came out pretty well. And now we've learned how to record more and got more experience.
We're looking to keep
Yeah.
expanding our DIY notions, mentalities. But yeah, I mean, we're basically just enthused by like the funk mentality. You know, it's like we're just kind of like we're just interested in that. So we're trying to do it in our own, you know, meager way, trying to like do that justice, or like do what they're doing, you know, because that's all you really can do at some point at the end of the day.
And yeah, also, so in my basement, speaking of basement, that's where we recorded most things, and that's where we play a lot of our shows, is people's basements. And there's a lot of small venues around Jersey and New York and PA that we've played. I mean, we're playing the Meat Locker in Montclair. Play there a lot. Just a kind of this underground venue. We play at this place, it used to be called the Elephant Graveyard in it's in New York.
New York.
Played there a lot. We play house shows in Brooklyn. We play in apartments and stuff.
We're playing
New
the Brad
Brunswick.
House coming up next week.
And there's a lot of
We played the Greenpoint Gallery.
yeah, there's a lot of
Greenpoint.
there's a lot of basement venues in New Brunswick.
Yeah,
We
New
play
Brunswick
there a
has a
lot.
cool scene.
So it's
J House.
mostly small DIY venues, and it's just kind of put together by people who love music for not really monetary gain, just for fun, and just for the love of music. And it's kind of like, and now I book shows at this new place called Enter in Boonton. We're just trying to create a scene where people can play music and they have venues to play and they have outlets, and yeah, we're involved in that. And small bands like us can even go on tour because of this, the way it's so DIY, and the internet's been an amazing accompaniment to that.
Yeah, it's quite essential these days, actually.
And that's
Kind of
pretty much
scary, but
that's kind of our audience too. It's just people who really are into music and kind of into niche, weird things, and like how we try grand events and we kind of genre hop. We're not really in a box per se, and I think that's kind of who our audience would be.
yeah. Also, we like a lot of bands that, like 2 days ago we saw Deerhoof. We like a lot of bands that you kind of have to dig down deep for. You know, we were looking at the whole crowd, and you can tell that each one is just like, they're there, like they've dug and they found Deerhoof and they like love Deerhoof. You know, like if you know them, you love them.
Yeah.
You know, like same with like Of Montreal, groups like that. You know, like more DIY, like things that have just kind of done what they do. You know, like and not compromise for anything. So we try to do that mentality. You know, like you can't limit yourself to saying like I can't do that, and it sounds really cliche, but you know, like if you feel like you want to do something musically or artistically, like you can do that. You just have to do it.
Yeah.
You know, you just have to get up and start doing it.
And that's kind of what I'd say, or what we'd say to bands who are just kind of starting off, or people who want to start a band, is just kind of have that mentality of like there should be no boundaries in art or music. You can make it, not even in the medium itself. You can go and you can push film into your show. You can push visual arts into your show, and there's no rules whatsoever. And it sounds like obvious.
It's however big or small you want it to be.
Yeah, for years we really restricted ourselves with rules about like what the music should be and how we should act, and like
you have to be like,
it's-
if you're in a rock band, you have to do this, that, and the other thing.
yeah, and
you
it's
know? And you don't.
it's so dumb and restrictive. It's any art form it should be really boundless, and you should just be free with it. And really, if you're and it should just come from like there's no thought that you have that's too crazy.
Outlandish.
And that's really what you just got to focus on, is just doing what you like. Go take your original idea and just go with that, and don't. So many bands just try to they see what works and try to emulate it,
You can't do that.
and I think it's awful. I mean, if you feel like you need to emulate a band, pick like 30 bands to emulate and have this crazy mix. Don't just emulate one or two.
I think also nowadays, the whole idea of a rock band or like a band has gotten like a lot more broad, which is kind of cool. Like there's more people just kind of like, you know, crowdfunding and doing, just having like projections or like a bunch of weird stuff. You know, like you can, like much more than back in the day. You know, you used to be like in a band, you have to play your music, you have to do your thing, you have to like talk to your label. Like you don't have to do like you
And
can
there's
do
100
anything as a
ways.
band. There's 100 ways to like get your stuff out there. Yeah, you know, it's cool, but it also means that you have to be more deliberate about like, you know, like making like original content. You know, because you have access to everything. So Yeah, it's a weird mix, you know.
And I think in the future, we have like where we see ourselves in 5 years or so. Is we're planning on moving, the two of us
To Philadelphia.
and another friend are move to Philadelphia, where there's a really blossoming art and music scene there. And I think we're just gonna. We don't necessarily have a goal as far as like how many records we're gonna sell, how much money we're gonna make.
It's just
But
how
we
many
have
projects.
a lot of projects that we have planned, and I would say in 5 years, I hope we have many successful projects behind us that we make together. And,
Yeah.
I don't see what would stop that really.
There's no stopping Mezling. Yeah, we have like like albums lined up, you know, like ideas for albums
Mhm.
stacked up, ready to you know, like, start working on. So we're just like excited to get to more. You know?
I'd say the
We
main
want more
thing-
stuff.
I'd say the main thing holding us back is just physically recording it and getting it
Yeah,
out,
yeah.
which is very time consuming, especially when you're trying to make things, you're trying to progress with each release, and so that's kind of holding us back in some ways because it just takes time to record,
The practicality and the technicality is
Yeah.
what holds us back.
but we're getting better at that.
Yeah,
It's
so
great.
we're just trying to do that as much
And
as
we're
possible.
still, we're recording 2 releases right now, and then we've got 2 more two more projects to start after that. So, we're psyched.
And we come up with, I think, like, and I don't mean this as a brag, but because maybe it's not like even that cool. But we come up with like an album idea like every day almost. You know, we'll be like, oh, what if we did an album like this?
Yeah, just like
You know?
it's so conceptual, and that's kind of like our idea with albums and just like art projects in general is where you give yourself constraints in a way, like you put yourself in some type
Yeah.
of corner, and then you create in that vein. But there's no rule, like you can go in so many different directions. Like this one, we're kind of like, okay, we're doing more of like a disco thing, and then
Yeah, we're like taking on this persona of like a disco funk band, you know, like we're acting as like this as like as if we were like Earth, Wind and Fire or like Michael Jackson or something, you know. That's because that's what we're interested in, you know.
Yeah.
So like Operation Narso Unit is like this like maybe it's a band, maybe it's this like random, you know, musical group that we're taking on.
almost like the Beatles with Sgt. Pepper's.
Yeah, yeah.
How they kind of just like they created an alter ego for themselves for that project.
Yeah, we like doing that.
I think you can find us on Spotify and Bandcamp and SoundCloud and iTunes, and we're on all the Instagrams and Facebooks.
We're on the Instagrams, we're on the Facebooks, we're on the Twitters. tweet, Twitter. The hardest part about being in a band is that there is no hardest part. If you're doing what you love, I mean, we can't really like speak to that because it hasn't gotten hard for us. Like we're just kind of, you know, like we live at home and we're just making music like in a basement, you know. So it's not hard. It might get hard,
Yeah.
but if you approach it with the fact that like, you know, like this is what we want. We just want to do this, you know. Like so, like if we're doing that, it's not necessarily going to be hard. Like it will be hard, like in a practical sense, but it's not.
Like economically, I guess, but
Yeah, or you could argue that it's kind of like a dumb thing to do, but it's not. It's there's an aspect of it that's beautiful, always, and that
And
is
it's
worth
easy 'cause
doing
we
for
love it,
us.
you know?
Yeah, we love it. You know, so that's whatever.
pretty strange.